به گوش به گوش به گوش تا باشی آگاه تا باشی هوشیار تا باشی بیدار به گوش به
صدای ما را از زوریخ میشنوید.
Liebe Leute, liebe Zuhörer, am Mikrofon ist Sari von Radio Pars. Heute möchte ich ein Interview mit einer iranischen Aktivistin namens Madis Tavakkoli führen. Sie ist Psychotherapeutin, Sexolog, Maler, Menschenrechtsaktivistin, ehemalige politische Gefangene. Sie lebt in Spanien momentan und möchte über die Pop-up-Medien enthüllen. Im Iran ist eine Revolution im Gang und natürlich sind die Frauen die Hälfte der Bevölkerung und sie sind durch ihre Rechte doppelt benachteiligt. Aber indem die Pop-up-Medien darüber berichten, mindern sie die Katastrophe, indem sie nur sagen, dass die Frauen im Iran dürfen nicht auf der Straße tanzen. Obwohl die iranischen Frauen während der 44-jährigen Herrschaft der Mullahs-Regime erlitten haben. Wir haben weder soziale noch politische Freiheit. Das faschistische, verbrecherische Mullah-Regime hat alles ruiniert. Unsere Kultur und Wirtschaft. Wir haben tausende politische Gefangene. Unser Problem ist alles politisch. Korruption und Missmanagement kommt dazu. Okay. Hello, dear Madis. Thank you very much for your information that you will share with us. Would you please tell us about your experience with the pop-up media and let us know why the Iranian uprising so far has not been able to succeed in achieving its goal, and the people of Iran and outside of Iran are suffering under the so-called Islamic Republic and don't get support from UN.
Hey Larry, good evening and good evening to all your audience. My name is Madis Tavakkoli. I'm a psychotherapist, artist, and human and women rights activist. I'm really happy that I'm joining you today, and this is one of my most favorite parts and topics to speak about. In general, if I want to mention some few important indexes that why our revolution up to now, I cannot say why our revolution, why our efforts up to now does not come to the point that we deserve and we want it. I can just mention several main things, but today I'm going to talk about three of them. First of all is what I just call new pop-up activists. During the revolution of Jina, Mahsa Amini, that just started after she became murdered by the morality police in Tehran, we just met a lot of people, women and men, that we didn't know them before. And they just mentioned themselves as the activists for human rights, and they pretend that Iran issues is matter to them. The problem about most of them, when you just study them, you will figure it out. Most of them are just out of Iran more than 20 years. Why these 20 years is matter to me right now? Because it means at least 2 generations. And it means during 2 last generations, they didn't live in Iran. But it's not just a matter. It doesn't mean that anyone who didn't live in Iran is not allowed to talk about Iran. Yes, we just are so grateful of those who are not Iranian even, and they are considering to our problems, our issues that we have with the Islamic Republic regime. But the matter about the specific new activists is the lack of resources for good and proper, dimensional, and comprehensive assessment. Why I mean? Many of them are just coming out of Iran more than 40 years, and they have no resources in Iran, no informational resources. They do not are connected with the Iranian community. They just heard one news from Iran in the news of the destination country that they are living. So it's a lot of difference between this person and one person, for example, you yourself, that is just all the time, every day, struggling with Iranian community, with Iran. But we say in Persian that we just came out of the country, out of Iran, but Iran does not come out of us. It's just the problem. These new pop-up activists are those who just most of the time misguide our revolution. As an experience, what we had in Spain was when they wanted to talk about what exactly we Iranian people want, and what exactly people that are just in the streets of Iran want, they cannot just say the exact thing. They just can say some examples. They cannot see our matter as a complex, as a whole. They cannot say, okay, and I didn't heard it generally, that they say Iranian people are coming out not just for hijab. They do not want religious political regime. They do not want Islamic Republic regime. They want democracy. They do not want theocracy. They are fighting for the right, the human right that they deserve to have it. So this is the problem. When someone asks them, they said, okay, people in Iran, the women in Iran have a lot of difference with the women that is just living, for example, in European countries. Okay, and the journalists ask what type of differences they have, and they say exactly, they mention, they say, okay, Iranian women cannot just sing in the public, they cannot dance, or they cannot just showing their hair. Of course, all of these are samples of our willing and wishing, but it's not the whole. When you are talking about something, a concept that they do not have any life experience about it, you have to just come from a whole to a specific part. You cannot just say something. And all of them say, okay, so, and right now, after 7 months, all those false and fake and improper reports are just showing them. Right now, because we are active every day and we are just searching for new organization that we can just make relationship to put pressure, first of all, to putting IRGC as a terrorist group. So they just tell me, okay, we see a lot of pictures and photos about Iranian women all around Iran without hijab. So why you do not stop? And right now, this is exactly the conclusion of those improper speeches that these new pop-up celebrities, activists just did 6 months before. And as much as we talk to them, we try to just convince them that you are not allowed, you have not to say that, they didn't notice. Okay? And they just say, okay, they just can massage Amini because of her hijab. Okay. But why you are not considering Islamic Republic regime is doing crime over all these 43 years to any reason, to anyone, to our environment, to our air, to our land, to the labor workers, to the boys, to the girls, to everyone, to the women, men, children, anything. All of that is not about hijab. When we are talking about a corrupted system, a systematic corruption, when we are talking about that, it means that it's just a system that all of that is just corrupted. When we're talking about repression, it means this repression is not just in the matter of hijab, it's just in all the area. So we have to just show it to the world, to the Europeans, because believe it or not, they cannot understand us. We are not in the same dictionary. When we just talk about, okay, when we tell them, okay, we are living in a totalitarian country, you say, totalitarian country? Are you kidding me? We go to the election.
Yeah.
And you have to just explain them about with that election. It's just a ceremony. It's nothing. Nothing is just real. Everyone is just selected from. And how really, Zari, we do not have the mutual or lexical resources to just explain them what is مجلس خبرگان, what is شورای نگهبان, and even we cannot make them understand this issue that how many forces we have in Iran. Okay, let's count some of them as my memory helps me. نیروی انتظامی, بسیج, آگاهی, سپاه, that has a lot of different departments, police امنیت.
We should say that all these are the different militia, actually, the state militia, that are all the duties to suppress the people. Yeah.
And the problem is you cannot tell all of them that they are working parallel. When people are coming out to protesting, all of them come out with different leaders, and they can do as much violence as they can. And even just you heard it a lot in these days, when someone was arrested, families were finding different parts, different organizations to, after weeks, just understand where are their family that are arrested. It's not like their own country that, okay, go to the police station, okay, they just check in the computer and tell them, okay, just like that. And we have a lot of examples. I can just mention right now the family of Said Zainali. That is more than 14 years. The family is just searching for their boy and do not find it. It just, I just, right now, I just forget the name, but a mom just was asking to the human rights organization to help her because they just arrested her son. It just somehow around 2 years, and no one knows where is he. He's just searching all the cities in Iran: Urumiyeh, Tabriz, Tehran, Rasht, Shiraz, Isfahan, and she couldn't find her son. This is the problem. So while we have this fundamental problem that is just really hard to solve it, to just reaching to a mutual vocabulary with foreigners, we have to be so careful about the exact word we are choosing while we are talking. Being an activist, the first thing that it needs is you just are activists because you know you have to be. And you have to have the comprehensive point of view. So you have to just see all the system in the same time, scan it in the same time, and just figure it out what's going on. Two can just express it for someone who has not our lived experience. The next thing that I can just mention is just, it's bitter, it's hard to say, but it's just true that our lives do not matter. Despite all the human rights organizations in the world are chanting that every life matters, I don't think it just is true about us. We are not black, we are not blonde, our eyes are not blue, even while we are talking about Middle East. Iran is the thing that is not considered as much as it needs to be. It has to be. That's the problem. There's no denying on that. I think one of the most important things is in many countries, while they were talking about Iran, they just mention us with those people who are just searching for reaching to the nuclear weapon. And the problem is, as European or Western citizens, or Western country citizens, consider the government and the nation as a united pack, they just think about us like that. It's hard for them to understand that even for Iranian people, government is just something entirely out of us. Mm-hmm. We do not feel ourselves belonging in the same way of the governments. Be sure that they are not us. We all the time say, okay, that is Islamic Republic of Iran regime, and we are nation of Iran. We are Iran. So it's the thing that during all these 7 months, we just stayed a lot of time. We wanted the world to understand it, that we are different from them. And I don't think this 7 months is enough. So we have to work on that a lot of time. We have to just be so obsessive about the words that we choose. For example, we have to say that when they are talking about Iran, they say government of Iran, the regime of Iran, not just Iran, because Iran is we that do not want the Islamic Republic regime. So because of that, they cannot understand that we are something out of this government. For example, most of them just a lot of time ask us, okay, if you do not want them, why you do not come to the street and protest? And this is the thing that I wanted to tell them from this tribune, that, okay, guys, see, it's at least 7 months that we are chanting in the streets of any country all around the world. See us, understand it, that we do not want this regime. Many of us just do and did an unwanted immigration. Many of us didn't want to quit our country. We love our countries. We wanted to stay there. Everything of us is there. We are belonging. Our roots are there. So understand it and see what is working a system while it's in a totalitarian regime. And the other thing is just that I can just give this right to them to not understand us, like this brutality that the Islamic Republic regime is doing is unbelievable. And really, we do not have any proper words to express that. So even us are unable to explain what's going on to us. We have a lot of prisoners that some things happen to them that while they are talking about it, me as a therapist, I cannot breathe. I really feel that I'm near to heart attack as much as they are painful. So consider all of this together means that one of our problems is, okay, the media and the world is just showing the real Iran in the same way of the regime. That is not true. And the next thing is we have somehow some sort of conflict of interest. Governments of other countries are so eager to buy our petroleum as cheap as they can, and they all the time think that if another regime come to the power in Iran, it's not like that. And they think Islamic Republic, they believe that Islamic Republic regime is just giving them a lot of discount on petroleum or anything, about the sanctions, about a lot of things. And they think if another regime come to the power, another systematic and not corrupted regime come to the power, it will be finished.
Yeah,
but it's
exactly.
Not true.
Yeah.
We can just have relationship. Our soul, our blood cannot be deal with the oil. It's something that is just really so shameful that in the 21st century we are talking about it, that okay, well, yes, we are human beings also. Oh, it's really shameful. It's out of imagination that something is just like that happen. And because of this conflict of interest, I think it's the reason, one of the main reasons that people for killing one person, millions and millions come to the streets, and we didn't saw such a a population to just come to the street while all these amount of people are dead just during these 7 months. In the Ukraine war that Russia invaded Ukraine, as I know, and I just get this update news 2 weeks before, somehow around 500 and somehow kids are dead. I want to tell the world that that was a war between two countries. During 1 year, 500 kids are there dead. In Iran, just in one day, in a Friday in Zahedan, for those people who were praying, they just killed more than 300 people, as we know, that somehow around 100 of them was men or people just less than 18-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So if human rights is really matter to you, what's the matter of Iran is not matter to you.
Yeah.
And it just, unfortunately, the first answer is just this black oil that just make all our life black, as we have the expression in the Farsi. And the third thing is, I can just say in the world I'm not hateful than any other thing than this, and it's just propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
Islamic Republic regime is like an squid. It has a lot of arms, and one of the most powerful arms of that is this part of propaganda. They just send a lot of students, normal people like me, like you, not seems so religious, sending them to the other countries. They just fund them. They just give them scholarship. They just prepare them their lives and their daily needs and something like that. And they buy them to just work for them, going to the speeches, talking to the people about that. No, people in Iran themselves wanted to be like that. They like hijab. We have no problem like that. Okay, we have some problems, but we do not have any problem with regime. Or as we say, during all these 7 months, many of them just interrupted the speeches that for the protesters of regime and saying, oh no, it's not like that. Why IRGC has to be in the terrorist list? They are guardians of the country. Which country? In the bio of IRGC, they exactly mention this is a force to protecting the leader of revolution, Khomeini, and the person that just come after him, Khamenei. So IRGC is not guardian of the country, it's not guardian of the land, it's just guardian of the revolution that they just did it 43 years before. So it's like that. But the problem is, because they are a part of propaganda, they have media, they have money, they have resources. Their voice, it just hurt more than us. So, and a lot of other things. They just send a lot of spies among those groups of Iranians that they are working. A lot of ambassadors of Iran, families, are just living out of Iran. They didn't came back to Iran even while the mission is just finished. But their children are living, going to the universities, and with their relations go to the best places for working. And all the time, they are soldier of that regime. They might be without hijab. They might just have pictures with bikini in their Instagram. But all of these things are for the regime. They are working for that. And unfortunately, the combination of a lot of indexes, especially these three things, make everything hard for activists, for Iranian activists like us, that we do not have any specific media, we do not have any specific funding, grants, or support. So we have to just run a lot of days to just have this possibility to just talk for 1 minute, one place, and they are just sitting in their home, just taking their coffee, and just everything is fine, and they just do the interviews and something like that. These three things, as I think, are one of the most items that we can mention why this path of glory and victory is just becoming so long, becoming so frustrating, and just make many of us disappointed in this moment. So we have to work on these three things. We have to just be more aware. We have to just get more connected with our foreigner resources, and just making relationships to just reach to this agreement that a peaceful Iran, a peaceful regime in Iran means a peaceful Middle East, and a peaceful Middle East means a peaceful world. So we can live, all of us, together in peace and respect, and nothing bad might happen. So, but if Western countries are just thinking that, okay, they are fighting, Iran regime is so somehow unpredictable, they might use the nuclear weapon. No, it is time that you just donating to Islamic Republic regime, you are just making a road to them to reach to the nuclear weapon. You are making yourself, you are helping that. If you really do not want Islamic Republic regime to reach to the nuclear weapon, you have to stop it. Stop it as soon as possible you can. Put IRGC in the terrorist list. Just exile their ambassadors from, exile the family that they are just from their relatives there, that they are just doing money laundering for them. Just do this action. But just talking so calm and nice and softly with Islamic Republic regime does not mean. If we have an expression in Farsi that we say, if you do not want to eat a wolf, it doesn't mean that that wolf do not want to eat you as well. So Islamic Republic regime is a monster. If you are just petting him, it doesn't mean that he is going to pet you. It just, he will devour you. You have to just understand it, that how their manner works, how their mind works. They will use nuclear weapon. They are buying time. They will reach into that, and they can just put all the world in threaten. So as soon as possible, the world has to do something. There is no joke, and there is no exaggeration on that. It's just pure, bitter, and clear fact.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we expect that they respect our national interests, but they respect their interest and all the financial and economic agreements. They don't care about the human rights everywhere, and they have this word always they say that there is a cultural relativity, and they think that in our culture, hijab is our native culture, and then that's just for women, that they are from the right disenfranchised. But from other side, this economic agreement, they play a big role, and so far we had a lot of huge uprising in Iran, but so far we haven't seen any support from United Nations and the people that respect the human rights everywhere for everyone.
Exactly. Zari, we always say we know that better than all the world, that this is our fight. We have to just do that, and we do not expect any other countries to just fight in our place. We just want them to do not cooperate with our murderers. It doesn't mean that we need you to just come and fight with us in the streets of Iran. No.
Yeah, many things happen.
Just wanted you to do not cooperating with our murderers. How did you just cooperating? While you just invited them. When you just do not exile their ambassadors. Why you just put why you have to just, which type of evidences you need from us that IRGC is a terroristic group? Really, what do you want?
And they don't know that
Everything
this
is
his terrorist action happening in other countries. For example, in
exactly.
France, what happened in France? Maybe the Hebdo. Actually, they get support, financial support from Iran. And then, oh, they have this experience, but I don't know why they don't care about that.
Exactly. But what happened to Mr. Salman Rushdie?
Yeah,
Just something
as well.
exactly against the freedom of speech, freedom of expression. It is something that happened in that way. So it just the most accurate and the recent experience evidence that just happened. So why you are just buying time in the benefit of Islamic Republic regime? It's really a question that I really wanted that these foreign countries just answer me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anytime that Iran regime want to make a deal with other countries, other government, they take the people from that country as a hostage, and then
Exactly.
yeah, they do everything they want.
Taking hostage is just one of their manner to just trading with other countries and make them silent.
Yeah.
If you just consider it right now, I suppose if I'm not wrong, 12 there are hostages from 12 countries in prisoners of Iran, in
Yeah.
the Iran's prison. So can you
Yeah.
imagine
Uh,
that from 12 countries they have hostages and they can just work on that? It's just a good trade.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the world is still silent.
Okay. Thank you so much. If you have any word to finish.
No, nothing. Just I wanted to tell your audiences that we Iranian people, not considering to our culture, not considering to our behavior, anything, we are human beings also, and we deserve to live in peace and respect. So if it's not, they do not make us a favor if they help me. It's their duty.
Yeah.
It's every of us duty to just work for humanity, for democracy, for liberty, for human rights. So if some countries or some people are just coming by our side in this way, they are not doing a favor to us. It's our duty that we have to do that. And I really wish that government just reach to this point, that do their duty to the people of Iran and just help us to just make this path shorter and just make down the prices, how many lives we have to lose, how many times we have to just suffer from torturing, how many people are in the jail. So that's really more than enough. Let's do something. Let's take the correct pose, and the history will judge us. I'm sure about it.
Okay, thank you so much, and have a nice time. Bye for now.
Thank you, dear. Bye for now. Bye bye.
با وفای خاک ایران.
با وفای خاک ایران، مسلک و راه دلیران، پایگاه شیر ژیان، نر شیرانت چه شد، رعنا جوانانت چه شد. پای تخت نوز تو بودی، جای کیکاووس تو بودی، حافظ ناموس تو بودی، شهریارانت چه شد، رعنا جوانانت چه شد. جوانانه چه شد از چه رو ای دشت یکه لاله زاری گشته حاصل کشور عمر است و رندی آن طبیبانت چه شد رعنا جوانانه چه شد از چه رو ویرانه گشتی خانه بیگانه گشتی در جهان افسانه گشتی حور دستانه چه شد رعنا جوانانه چه شد ای دل غافل به احوال وطن